Is the trawl industry really regulating itself? If you watched the Alaska Bycatch report, you've heard us raise many concerns about conflicts of interest on the North Pacific Fisheries Management Council, or NPFMC, the body that is supposed to be regulating the trawl industry. In this video, we're going to break down exactly what some of those conflicts of interest are. But before we begin, please remember that personal attacks or harassment against any of the people named here is going to be completely counterproductive, and it also misses the point. These are normal people like you or me, and I'm sure many of them care deeply about Alaska's fisheries. The problem is not any one person. The problem is a system that allows too much crossover between the industry and the regulatory body. Number one is Ann Vanderhoven, Director of Government Affairs for the Arctic Storm Management Group, which oversees 4 large trawl vessels. She also sits on the boards of various trade associations and trawl collectives. Next is Simon Kineen, Quota Acquisition Manager for the Norton Sound Economic Development Corporation, a CDQ group which is heavily vested in trawl. Angel Drobnica, Director of Fisheries and Government Affairs for Aleutian Pribilof Island Community Development Association, another CDQ group. Rudy Tsukada, whose appointment we reported on several weeks ago. Mr. Tsukada is the Chief Operating Officer of the Coastal Villages Region Fund, another CDQ group. Nicole Kimball is Vice President of Pacific Seafood Processors Association, a trade association for seafood processing companies. None of these individuals should be blamed for the breakdown of regulation of the trawl industry. No, if you'd like to blame one individual, the person you should blame is Alaska Governor Mike Dunleavy, because he is owned by the trawl industry. He's their little dog. He does whatever they want. Here's one example. In 2018, Mike Dunleavy received a $100,000 donation from the Pacific Seafood Processors Association. Then, he went on to name their vice president, Nicole Kimball, to a seat on the NPFMC. As a matter of fact, everybody that I just listed, with the exception of Ann Vanderhoven, who's from Washington, was appointed to the NPFMC by Mike Dunleavy. And the trawl money train just keeps on rolling for Governor Dunleavy. In 2022, he received generous donations from people like Joe Budrant, the owner of Trident Seafoods, and Stephanie Madsen, one of the biggest lobbyists on behalf of the pollock fleet that there is. And Stephanie Madsen is a former president of the NPFMC. So you see, the relationships between the NPFMC, the trawl industry, and Alaska's politicians are deep, and they are just filthy with money. And that's why we can't get sustainable management of this fishery. That, ladies and gentlemen, is regulatory capture. And now for your bycatch report for the week of April 29th, 2023. We'll start with the Chinook salmon. In the Bering Sea Aleutian Islands fishery, 143 Chinook salmon were destroyed by the trawler fleet. Meanwhile, in the mostly unobserved Gulf of Alaska fishery, an additional 26 Chinook salmon were destroyed. Now let's move on to halibut. The combined total halibut mortality for all of Alaska's trawl fisheries during the week of April 29th was 147,710 pounds of halibut. That averages out to about 879 pounds of halibut every hour, 24 hours a day, all week long. Let's talk crabs, because they had a very bad week this week, thanks to the trawler fleet in the Bering Sea Aleutian Islands fishery. 18,205 apelio crabs, 68,483 Bairdi crabs, and 64 Alaskan red king crabs were destroyed as trawler bycatch. Well, that's all for this week, folks. Thank you very much for watching. Thanks to NOAA for providing the data that we use in the bycatch report. We'd like to encourage you to write an email or make a phone call to the office of Alaska Governor Mike Dunleavy. Let him know what you think about his history of appointments to the NPFMC. Until next time, I'm Paul Jones. This is the Alaska Bycatch Report.